Going? Yeah, it's going. Hi everyone, I am Parker, and this other person here is named Dad.
Hi, I'm Parker's dad.
He's not named Dad, by the way. Though, yesterday, we talked about everyone in the top 25, and I made some bad puns, I had some water, and it was a good time. Now we're going to talk about probably the most important games all until Saturday. So here's what I'm thinking, and this is me just spitballing here. I know we're doing Alabama and Auburn and Oklahoma, West Virginia today. Tomorrow we do Pittsburgh and Miami, and then on Friday we do Clemson, South Carolina.
Sounds good.
And so the first game we're going to start off is Oklahoma and West Virginia. Now, when we look at it, Oklahoma is favored by 23 points. But I don't really know if they should be favored by that much. Of course, Baker Mayfield is not starting. So, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, Oklahoma's offense has been on fire. West Virginia's not the best defense in the world. 23.5, or was it 23?
23.
23 is a lot of points to give up. You kind of wonder if Oklahoma will take it easy, knowing they have the Big 12 Conference Championship game the next week, assuming they win, of course.
Yeah.
So you wonder, it's a lot of points to give up.
I mean, I think that they're still gonna go full throttle. Even though Baker Mayfield isn't starting, they are probably still gonna go full throttle because they probably want a playoff spot. They're probably not going to get any higher than number 4, but it's a playoff spot. Everyone's who's number 4 has been blown. A lot of teams that are number 4 got blown out by Alabama. Oklahoma's like, we're different. West Virginia is coming off of that loss against Texas, where their offense couldn't seem to get going. Neither could their defense, because that's the reason why they lost. Part of the reason. So it's hard to. This is probably the most important game because Oklahoma loses, Wisconsin probably gets in.
Assuming Wisconsin wins.
Yeah. They're playing the Golden Gophers.
The Golden Gophers, who weren't so golden last week or haven't been really golden all year. Oklahoma's likely going to win the game. I think they're the better team. 23 points is a lot for me. I would have to say they don't cover that 23-point spread. Maybe win by 20 or 21, something like that. 23 is just too much. With your team having to play the next week in a conference championship game. Oklahoma's coming off a big win, so they could have a little bit of a letdown, not enough to lose, but just not cover. I guess the other thing to be concerned about on the other side is West Virginia just giving up and saying, our season's over, we lost to Texas, who cares anymore?
Yeah. I don't even know. Are they in contention to go bowling?
Well, I don't know their record, but I assume everybody goes to a bowl game. I told Parker the other day, 129 teams, roughly 8 bowls, I think, somewhere in there, or 50. So about 100 teams go to bowls, 6 and 6 teams, occasionally a 5 and 7 team if their academics fits in there. Everybody goes to a bowl unless you're really bad. I don't know about West Virginia, though.
Yeah, but I'd say, of course, they want to make the playoff, which isn't happening for them, but going bowling is better than nothing. So the question is, I actually forgot what West Virginia's record was.
Yeah.
So if they're eligible for bowls, they're probably just gonna go, yeah, we're just gonna give up. I'm out of here.
I guess that was West Virginia leaving and giving up. Well.
And then they're gonna come back because they're gonna play Oklahoma.
Okay, what do you think about our next game up? Alabama and Auburn, the big game for Saturday and probably the biggest game of the year. I heard an interesting stat this morning. Since 2007, I believe, the winner of this game, except for 1 year, the winner of this game has played in the national championship.
Ooh.
So there you go. So, what do you think, Parker? Start off for us.
The question is, do you think Auburn's gonna win? Because they showed that they can beat a number 1 Georgia, which frankly I don't think Georgia was good enough to be number 1, but they showed that they can beat a number 1 Georgia. They could just ruin Georgia's playoff hopes except if they win out and win the conference championship. But that game really destroyed Georgia because they only had one way. The way that it was before Auburn beat them, before Auburn destroyed them, they're just gonna cruise to a win, to number 1, and Alabama's gonna be number 2. Now, say Auburn doesn't beat Georgia, and this game, and Georgia still is probably gonna be undefeated, and Clemson's probably going to be number 4, Oklahoma's going to be out, Alabama's going to be number 2, and Miami might still be number 3. This game wouldn't be as important, but they had the dominoes fall into place like that. And Wisconsin actually might be in the playoffs, or the playoff, excuse me. But this game is very important. Alabama's favored by 4 points, 4.5?
4.5.
4.5. By 4.5 points. I think it's going to be a bit more than that, especially because 4 points is sort of a weird number to win by. But, of course, I don't attend Vegas, so I don't know what half the stuff means. But I hope I don't attend Vegas. But I don't know what half the stuff means, but it gives me a good idea when I see it. It gives me a good idea to show who's going to win. And they think Alabama's probably going to win in a close game. I'm having a hard time. I mean, I want to root for the underdog. But I'm having a hard time rooting for Auburn. Most of those sports announcers, the OU sports announcers, I forgot you guys' name, I'm sorry. They like to root for the underdog. But if Auburn had that one win, only had that one loss against Clemson, I'd actually be rooting for them. Because Alabama, let's be honest, they win too much, and it's just horrible. But it's just not horrible for Crimson Tide fans. Horrible for Clemson fans that are like 2nd, 3rd, 4th place except for that one year. And it's also horrible for everyone else who's in the playoff. And the other people that had to face them in bowls when they're not good enough to make the playoff. Basically horrible for everyone in college football. But anyway, I'll stop talking about my horrible stuff, and let's say I think Alabama's gonna win.
Well, this is an interesting game. Alabama's favored. A lot of people are talking about Auburn. I think that's more of a recency bias, meaning that you tend to remember, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who do know what recency bias is, pardon me, for those of you who don't know, that means you tend to remember what happened last week or the week before and not what happened 4 or 5 weeks ago, like when Auburn blew a 20-0 lead against LSU, or 12 weeks ago when they lost to Clemson and scored amazingly 6 points
2 field goals
on a Clemson defense, which is, roughly on par with Alabama's more or less. The point is, they played a good defense that didn't score any points. The other point is, they played a good, decent LSU team, blew a 20-point lead. So, I'm not as much of a believer in Auburn as most folks are.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, they played a great game against Georgia, not taking anything away from them. Makes you question Georgia a little bit because of the
40 point.
The 41-17 or whatever
40
it was.
17.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it makes you question Georgia a little bit more than giving Auburn credit. But that said, I think Auburn's a good team. I think they will give Alabama a tough time, and 4.5 points playing in Auburn, is a lot of points to give, even for Alabama, this Alabama team. By the way, an Alabama team, Parker and I were talking about this before the video, this Alabama team, he says they played a pretty good schedule, and I say, yeah, it's not the worst schedule in the world, but not a great schedule either. I don't know that I think they've beaten one top 25 team, and that was Mississippi State. They're right on the edge there somewhere. So
we've been on the edge.
Not a bad Alabama schedule, but not a great one either. They haven't played the competition that Clemson's played, and of course Auburn has played Clemson. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Alabama wins the game in a close one, and I'd take Auburn plus the points if you get my drift. What are you saying, Parker?
I say that Alabama wins, and more on that schedule thing. I'm not saying their schedule that Mercer is gonna win the national I'm not saying like Mercer's a national championship contender or something. That's never been heard of and never will be heard of. But if Texas A&M, Mississippi State, LSU, Auburn,
they played Florida State with
Florida State, FSU.
when the quarterback was still healthy
Yeah.
until the end of the Alabama game.
Yeah. Of course they played Fresno State, okay, so imagine a door. Of course they played Fresno State and Mercer. Imagine a door. Alabama could just go battle ram through that door. That's Fresno State and Mercer. They could just battle ram through them. There haven't been a lot of teams that they can battle ram through. I mean, they're just like Mississippi State. They're living on the edge in that game. I actually thought I was at a basketball game and I actually thought Alabama was gonna win or gonna lose, and Mississippi State probably did something stupid and gave up a touchdown or something like that. I don't know what happened in the game. I don't even think I saw highlights of the game, so I couldn't tell you what happened.
Alabama scored in the last minute or so to win.
Yeah. And
here's another thing to think about. The teams that give Alabama a hard time are teams like Auburn, Clemson 2 years in a row, and Auburn, who play a spread offense. You're not just going to run over Alabama, like run up the middle like a lot of the teams that Alabama does. You're not going to just beat Alabama that way. You need to spread them out across the field. Auburn does that. That's advantage Auburn, at least in that aspect, in my mind.
Yeah. I wasn't goofing off. You said you can't run straight down the middle.
I know what you're doing. More bad puns from Parker.
That wasn't a bad pun. That was a demonstration.
Bad demonstration.
And you have a lot of those in the game. In the video. Did I say that Auburn's a good team? The question is, no two-loss team has ever made it. The question is, Auburn beats Alabama? Would a two-loss team be in the top four if they beat two number one seeds or two former number one seeds?
Here's what I think. I think if Auburn beats Alabama and Georgia, they're in. And it'll probably be Auburn and Alabama in. And, we can go through all the other scenarios as we work through these games. But I think if Auburn beats Alabama and then Auburn beats Georgia again, they'll be in. Mm-hmm. If Auburn beats Alabama and Georgia beats Auburn, obviously Auburn's out. That'll be the third loss. Georgia and Alabama will be in. So actually, now that you say that, Parker, the best case scenario for the SEC, for SEC fans out there, Alabama loses, doesn't go to the conference championship game, sits on the sidelines next week. Whoever wins out of Georgia and Auburn goes in to the playoff, and Alabama also goes into the playoff. Interesting.
Yeah, and you got to keep your own channel.
And that's bad news for Wisconsin, by the way.
Yeah. Poor Wisconsin fans. They probably see the best season they're probably ever going to play, but they don't know that they're really good because their schedule is horrible.
Yeah, we don't know. Hey, so let's wrap this up real quick. I'm saying Alabama wins, does not cover the 4.5. In other words, they win by less than 4.5.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yes or no? Up or down?
I said they're going to probably win by a touchdown or two.
Okay. Parker takes Alabama and the points. Oklahoma, West Virginia. I say Oklahoma wins, but West Virginia covers to 23 points. What do you say about that?
I say 23 points is too much. Oklahoma's is obviously gonna stomp on them unless they don't start Baker Mayfield.
Well, wait a second. That's kind of confusing. 23 points is too much.
Too much.
But they're going to stomp on them. Is Oklahoma going to win by more than 23 or less than 23?
Less.
Less than 23.
They're going to win by like 20.
Okay.
But if Baker Mayfield doesn't start, then and West Virginia, I wouldn't say they have a chance because West Virginia can be flushed down the toilet and no one would notice. But and things have gone south for them. Things have gone South Virginia. But And
it's only video 2. These jokes are getting just out of control.
So I'd say that if they actually don't start Baker Mayfield for like a half and have him play backup, I don't think that's gonna happen. They're probably gonna put him in. Like I said last game, they're probably gonna put him in on the first drive for Oklahoma, the first series, and say he didn't start the game.
Right.
The other team started.
You mentioned that.
Yeah. So I say if Baker Mayfield actually doesn't start, and I hope you guys know what I mean by doesn't start, because
6 times, I think we get it by now.
Get it by now.
All right, so there you have it. I say Alabama. I say Alabama wins the game. Auburn covers. Parker says Alabama wins and covers. We both say Oklahoma wins but doesn't cover. Tomorrow, who we talking about?
Pittsburgh and Miami.
Okay, tune in tomorrow. Pittsburgh and Miami. Till then, I'm Dad. He's.
Goodbye. I'm Parker, and you saw it here first.
All right.
I hope you did.
Later, guys. Oh, like, subscribe, all that stuff Parker usually says at the end. Do it right now.
Like, subscribe.
Right here. There's a button down here.
No, there's not. That's the table. You know what I mean.
All right. Bye.
Like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a cousin. That's a family member, I know. Goodbye.